So you also say something that I love, and I've told Marcella over and over, and I've told my son Gino. You say this: the common denominator for all success can be traced back to an introduction.
All of it. I was just thinking about that actually, because I was thinking how we met.
Yeah.
How we met is a school that's 1 block away from my home.
Yep.
And you guys live in North Dallas.
We live in Plano.
Plano area, and we would never have met without going to Dana's School of Dance.
Yep.
Or PAC, Performing Arts Academy. So everything, like this studio, I can ask you enough questions and it will trace back to an introduction.
Yeah.
The way you met your husband, I can ask you enough questions. Any multi-million-dollar merger that has ever happened, I can trace it back to an introduction. You know, I can trace Cain and Abel back to an introduction. You know,
it's unbelievable.
Everything, the common denominator to anything that has been successful is an introduction. And the other side of that is, if you're not meeting people on a regular basis, the chances of you ever becoming successful is diminished. So if you want to increase the possibilities of success in any area of your life, it's going to take an introduction. So if you didn't meet anybody in the last 24 hours, you're working against yourself if you say you want to be successful in something.
Oh my goodness.
And listen, this is me talking to me.
Yeah.
This is how Johnny talks to Johnny. So
I want to talk how Johnny talks to Johnny.
I want you to.
Like
too.
I'm not nice to me. Like I asked my wife, like I mean, the closer you get to me in certain circles, the faster you can get your feelings hurt. Because if you ask me a question, I'm going to tell you the truth. I love people too much to not tell them the truth. And the Bible says open rebuke is better than hidden love. So either I'm going to hide the truth because I love you. No, open rebuke is better than hidden love. Open rebuke just says, man, hey, I need to correct you on this. But I'm going to correct you out of wisdom. I love when people try to correct me who are broke.
I'm sure.
I don't listen to parked cars. I don't follow parked cars. You got to be moving. I ain't listening.
So do you get out and meet people every day?
I kind of have no choice. Like, me and my wife and I, we'll go to a 5-star restaurant and eat at the bar.
I heard you say that today.
Like just last week, she's like, I want to dine. And I'm like, really? Why? And she's like, why do you ask me why? I'm like, well, 20 years, we normally eat at the bar. So she's in control whether we dine, but we were in Vegas. She wanted to dine. So I'm like, okay, this is weird. So
she
not
time
eating,
with you only.
Now, how crazy is that? But listen to this. How crazy is it that we have dined at the bar so much, even 5-star restaurants, that it's now weird to me
to go sit down
to dine, unless for like Valentine's or something like that. But I'm so used to putting myself in atmospheres that forces me to meet people or talk or have a conversation. And I'm a people watcher. I love letting people talk.
Me too.
Yeah, if you let people talk, they'll tell you who they are.
For sure.
Yeah.
So with that said, I saw you guys meet my complete idol, Oprah Winfrey. I was dying.
Oh my gosh, you love her.
I have loved her since the
world.
first show she has ever done. I've watched her forever, and I'm like, next thing I know, they're taking pictures with Oprah. I'm like, what the heck is happening? That was awesome.
She's amazing.
Now your wife is also an author.
Crystal, yes.
Yes.
She wrote the book Alphascripts, and it's a series. So she has an umbrella series, Kid Alpha, and it's all about kids. It's all about, learning spiritual foundation and practical education at the exact same time. So her first book, and I'm an investor. I'm like the Shark Tank. So I didn't invest in her book because it was my wife. Now, would I have? I'd give her a credit card and say, hey, you're on your own. Go do it. I'll pay the bill. But I invested. I paid it right up front because I literally thought in my mind that this is the most functional book I've ever seen for kids. Now, I haven't seen a lot of kids' books in a long time, but the functionality of her book, the parents get caught up into it because there's a game at the end of the book. And she came up with all this by herself or collaborating with other people, but I thought it was genius. And now, she did Alphascripts, ABCs of the Bible. Now you're doing Alphascripts 1, 2, 3s of the Bible. So it's catered to spiritual belief in terms of Christianity, but one of the first people who bought her book was Rhonda, who's a Muslim, and she gave it to her kids.
Wow.
We got pictures of her, but because the foundation of Scripture, Abraham, is in all the three major religions. So her book, functionality wise, is amazing.
It's beautiful too, and
and it's attractive. It's actually aesthetically beautiful.
Yes.
I gotta
It's very important.
I gotta take a drink with my
Aesthetic
pinky
is
up.
very important.
Y'all heard me? I said aesthetic, baby.
I was gonna say it for you, but you did that.
I was digging deep. I was gonna say it was dope, but I don't want to. All right, go.
And is it for younger kids or?
What would you say? 2 to 5? I would say 2 to 11, because you learn sign language.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you learn sign language too.
I know the alphabet. That's it.
High five, me too. Lazy high five. We're not really gonna do it.
No, we're not. That's all I know.
So, what would you say? What's your favorite spot in the world that you have been to? Or you have been everywhere?
I have 2 answers to that. I always go by where I would live if I had to leave America.
Where would you live? I want to know.
And then my favorite destination to go to.
Yeah.
I love the Mediterranean. Any from Capri, Nice, Naples, that part of the world. I love the Mediterranean. I do. And even Israel. If it's on the Mediterranean, Greece or Santorini or Mykonos,
That's a
Malta.
That is a different way of life there. Don't
Isn't
you
that
agree?
crazy? Isn't amazing? I would never live there though, because it's crazy overly expensive and everything's small. And I like big homes. I would uproot and move my family if I had to Australia.
I always want to go there.
Yeah,
I have not been.
I took the whole family to Sydney for Thanksgiving maybe 3 or 4 years ago. It's the only place where I would uproot. And I actually have a strategy. I would go to Barbados first.
Oh my gosh.
So I gotta get out of here quickly. And then,
Are you running
how
away?
How crazy is it?
Are you running away?
Listen, you live in the land of the free and you got an exit strategy. I'm telling you, man, I got an exit strategy. I got all my kids have passports before they were 1. And it's just with, I don't trust anything. I don't trust anybody but God. I'm loyal to God. I live in America, but I'm loyal to God.
You're like my son Gino. Same thing.
Yeah,
he has an exit strategy too.
I'm out. Barbados. From Barbados, we're going to Australia, or Brazil to Australia. We're getting out. So I would actually uproot my family and live in Australia, because Australia to me is a new America.
Yeah.
But they're not too far behind. They're starting to experience a lot of the crap we're experiencing, but it's nowhere near on our level. No. My mom, when I go to Israel, is she's scared. I'm like, Mom, there's a bigger chance of something happening to me in Chicago than there is in Israel. There's a bigger chance of something happening in Dallas than in Israel.
What is it? Pastor Ed, and then they all always go to Israel every year, right?
Every year,
Pastor Ed and Fellowship.
Ed Haynes?
Ed Young.
There's a lot of Ed pastors.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought about that. Did it turn off? Oh, 16 minutes.
Oh.
Okay. That's good. Just charge it again.
That's good. Oh, okay.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
No, you're fine.
I'm probably dead.
I wanted to just hear one more. You had a very traumatic experience. Also, your friend got murdered, right?
Yeah.
I'm going backwards, but still. That changed your life too, right?
Yeah, so unfortunately, he wasn't my first friend murdered. And I was a junior in high school. This one was different because I knew the person who killed him.
Oh.
So I knew both sides. But the guy who got killed, I was closer to. The guy who killed him, I was closer to in elementary. But now I'm in high school. So my old school elementary homie killed my right now homie who's in high school. So that was the difference on this one. Unfortunately, I have more, but this one was different. And so the night of the wake, they allowed the closest friends to come in because they knew we were planning to retaliate. And so we all went into the wake, and I could tell, it was kind of like a setup type situation because there's counselors there and all this stuff. And the preacher, after he spoke, the mother of my friend got up, and right in front of the casket, she stood right in front of the casket, and she said, "I forgive the young man who killed my son." Now, I have a gun. I'm at a church at a memorial service, and the mother has found forgiveness. So I had the most mature moment in my life up to that point. And you just made me think about something, because I never thought about the moment when I told my mother, "I'm sorry for saying I hate you." I never said that out loud. I never even articulated that. She's never heard that story. So that was a moment when I ran off the airplane and gave her a hug and said, I'm sorry. That was I've just thought about that. That was like a mature moment for a 7-year-old because I know I'm leaving her and we're going to be apart. This, when his mother said, that's crazy. My 2 most mature moments as a child are traced back to a mother. See how my mind works?
Wow.
So the mother had found forgiveness. And something happened inside me where I was just having a mature moment. Remember I said change comes from dripping, but you got to be open. My friends who were sitting next to me, they weren't open. For some reason I was. And I had this stupid moment, like, who am I to get revenge when the mother has found forgiveness? I don't love him like that. I don't love him more than his mother. So it would actually be a disrespect to her if I went to go get revenge. And I had that moment at 18 years old.
Wow.
And I just turned 18. It was a week later. That was February the 3rd of the year 2003. No, 1993. And gave my gun to the preacher that night. They actually, we spent the night at a teacher's house, so we wouldn't go anywhere.
Wow.
Miss Crane, Mama and Papa Crane. Spent the night at their house. And the next day at the funeral, Crystal was setting 3 seats down for me.
I was about to ask how you guys met.
Literally, after the funeral, I remember seeing these hot chicks. Like, where are they from? They're not from Fort Worth. Because, I mean, Fort Worth, like, people in Dallas don't go to Fort Worth. Fort Worth was really rough when I was young. We were the murder capital of the nation per capita. And most people don't know that.
I did not know.
It's like almost like we were trying to be. Like, we were, like, working. Yeah, we were working on that title, which sucks. I don't think news should ever tell who's number one when it comes to violence.
Right.
So we went back to Mama and Papa Crane's house after the funeral, after we did the drive to the cemetery. They wanted to talk to us one more time. And my clothes were there because we spent the night. And we walk in and Crystal's there. Crystal and her friend. And I'm kind of like a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air class clown. I was always that crazy kid that I could talk my way out of trouble on my way to the office. So I never really got in trouble at school per se.
I can see that.
But on the streets, and I was never the guy who wanted to be known for being in trouble. So I would play the role. So I get on the piano and I'm playing, that song, dun 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 dun, and another person goes dun 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 dun. I don't know how to play both at the same time. And I said, who knows how to play the other part? And she goes, I do. And that's how we met. It's an introduction. She came over there, she sat down, she jacked the whole song up. But that's how we met.
And then
she was at the funeral.
Together after that?
Oh, yeah, day one. Like, I would say within 3 days, I don't have titles with women. Like, I never did. And, I mean, if I had a title with you, like girlfriend, that was a big deal for me. So she was one of my only girlfriends, like maybe out of 2 or 3. So we started dating. Her mother loved me, accepted me, would even come, like, drop me off in the hood. And I started acting different because I wanted to impress her parents. So Will Smith, right? Like,
yeah.
I could play this role if I got to. So acting different caused me to start seeing things differently. And then I went to acting school immediately after high school. So I met her when I was a junior. I got a job in Arlington just so I could be close to her. So I would leave school early to my job. I would clock in, leave my job, and go pick her up for lunch. Like, that was every day our senior year.
Wow.
And it literally distracted me from a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what made you get into what you're doing now, or what got you to that point.
So I went to acting school fresh out of high school. We were going to go to Grambling University. We were both like communication people, and I was in the band. So I had a scholarship to a couple schools because I played saxophone. And I remember working at an incredible university in Arlington, Texas. I was the DJ. I would be the guy on the mic. Like, welcome to the Incredible Universe. Not only does the Incredible Universe have the best electronics, and I could fake my voice in any. I was like Eddie Murphy. I studied Eddie Murphy. I studied how can he like become, sound like a white guy, sound like a black guy, sound like a professional, sound like this, like a sports. Like, I would do it all. So I got a job that most adults wanted, and I'm still in high school. And I started writing my own schedule. So when I said I went to go clock in, I'm clocking in, I'm writing the clock, and I'm taking her to lunch because I'm writing my own schedule. So when I was DJing at this Incredible Universe, it was like an entertainment electronics store, which is Fry's Electronics now. Same. So that big building, I was the voice of that big building.
Okay.
But it was all bells and whistles, like Hollywood, Universal Studio type shopping. everything was a show. Like, welcome to the cast. Like, they didn't call them employees, they call them cast members. It's kind of a cool concept. They should do it again.
Yeah, I've never heard of it before.
So I was a DJ. I was the voice of the entire store, right? So I was sitting down going through paperwork. She was going to UTA, so I'm going to UTA with her. And I'm flipping through, and I see this article for KD Studios. KD Studios Actors Conservatory. I'm like, what is this? So I called them right on the spot. Boom, called them. And I set up an audition, and I went in, and they said, well, you can start next semester. Because this was July. This was June. So I would be able to start in October. I'm like, I don't want to start next semester.
I want to start now.
They said, you're a week late. I said, I want to start now. So I did my paperwork, got my grants and everything, and I started a week late. And I remember my first day of school, I walk in, and everybody's sitting there like grown-ups. Like, I had people like 50 years old in my class. I'm fresh out of high school. No higher level education at all. 1 week out of high school, and I'm starting. I didn't have a summer. And for 18 months, I went through this program, and I got my associate's degree in acting and theater. And my first day in the class, I walk in. Everybody knows each other. I walk in, so I act like the teacher.
No, you didn't.
So I walk up to the front, and I say, hello, I'm Johnny. I'm your substitute today. And as I'm saying it, the real teacher walks in. Says, go sit your ass down. I'm like, and then everybody started laughing. That's how I broke the ice. But it really taught me something different. Like, I was no longer in the hood. I'm in downtown Dallas area now. And I'm around other people from all over the United States. And I remember, his name is Randy. Randy called me up to the front and said, hey, we did this last week, but you got to do it. You got to introduce yourself to the class. And I'm the only one. Everybody already did it. Because I somehow convinced them to let me start a week late.
Right.
Did you feel nervous?
No.
You didn't get nervous.
No. I get nervous when I talk to kids, not adults. So I go in there and I get up and, now I got the cool role because I'm on. So now I'm playing small. When I play big, it's normally because I'm breaking the rules. But now following the rules, I'm playing it small. So my name is, Johnny Wimbrey. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. Said, what? I said, my name is Johnny Wimbrey. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. And the class starts laughing. So obviously they've already been corrected. So now I'm the guinea pig. And now I'm getting pissed.
Yeah.
Like for real pissed, like hood pissed. So they're deciding like mother, you don't know me like that. Like I'll whoop everybody's ass in here. I will burn this building. In my mind, that's what's going on. Like I got to show who I am. Like right now, I'm about to bring it. And I was like, you're from Fort Worth, Texas. I have never in my life said the word Fort Worth. It was Fort Worth.
Oh.
And I knew instantly that every word that came out of my mouth was going to be judged because I'm in acting school. So every semester I had speech coaches, I had speech pathologists. So I had to learn how to articulate and how to use my, the phonetic system and all this stuff that I had to learn. And she's actually going through the same thing in college because she's broadcast communication. But my degree was like what she was going through. She had 4 years to do it. I had 18 months. Mm-hmm. So it was like high. I seen grown men on the ground crying outside the classroom because they can't get the phonetics down pat.
Oh, wow.
And it's extremely emotional. So that saved my life. It really did. So when I got a job after acting school, I was only interested in jobs that would not cause me to miss auditions. So I got in sales.
Okay.
And the rest is history. The rest is history. I started studying personal development, sales development, and I was, from Les Brown to Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, Dr. John Gray to Tony Robbins. And then I just started learning a whole new industry.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
That's how it happened. Mm-hmm.
That's why I wanted to know that. That's really cool.
Such a great. Yeah. I mean, what a life you have led so far. Unbelievable.
That's crazy, right?
Yes. Now, tell us about your highest paid speaking job.
Okay, two-part answer. Paid in advance as a speaker, $40,000 to go speak in India.
For how long were you speaking?
I did a 2-day event in India, first class ticket, first class hotel.
$40,000, everyone.
Before I got on stage, they paid $20,000 up front, and if they cancel, I keep the 20.
Good for you.
Even acts of God, I would keep the 20, but I would always roll it over to another event. Some speakers don't do that. and then another 20 before I got on stage. So that's the highest paid speaking engagement I had. My highest paid day on stage was over $200,000 for like a 1 hour speech.
Oh my Lord.
Because I'm selling products and coaching programs and things like that. And I spoke for free. So my most profitable moment on stage, I spoke for free. That was in Australia. I think I was in either Melbourne or Sydney. I did an Australian tour. That's just my biggest day on stage. But my highest paid speaking engagement was $40,000. And I didn't sell anything there.
They just wanted you to
Yeah. Sometimes they pay you not to sell anything.
Mm.
You have to pay me a full amount if I'm not going to pay anything. I'd rather speak for free and sell something.
Right.
Yeah.
Give more.
Do you have a lot of people who call you and like text you or message you and ask you like all kinds of, they want help and you give it to them without charging them?
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
So, yeah, that happens all the time. I spoke in Las Vegas last week and I think about like 6,000 people. And this was an audience that really didn't know who I was. And this is kind of like my favorite audience because this is where you're challenged. Like, they don't love you before you get up there. They're like, okay, who are you? And, you know, by the time I'm done, they know who I am. Yeah, so it's different. Now it's a different energy. And remember the guy who came to me from Africa? He lives in Canada, but he's an African. And he's like, I'll pay you right now, like, if you can give me some time. And he was serious. This happens to me all the time. I've had people like, I'll write a check for $5,000 right now if you give me an hour. And I'm like, I can't. That means if I say yes to new, I got to say no to all these other people. And it's just not fair. And like I teach people, I make money. Money doesn't make me. So it's like, I want you. I mean, I want them, but it wouldn't be fair to them.
Well, that's like an avalanche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy who's super persistent. I'll come to Dallas. I'm like, I'm still in Vegas. They set me up on social media like, well, I'll come to Dallas when you get home. I'm like, no, I'm taking the weekend off. I want to be with my kids. And like, well, then he finally calls me tomorrow, goes through my office, works his way up the channels to get to me. I'm like, okay, put him on. Let me talk to him. And I just realized that he was willing to pay whatever it took to get to where he wants to go. And I spent about 5 minutes on the phone with him. I said, man, listen, I just gave you 5 minutes worth of coaching that if you just implement that, you're going to be okay. That gets the ball rolling. So in other words, I'm like, there's no need to pay me. Just do what I just told you and then call me next month.
Okay.
So get the ball rolling. So I mean, it's hard to charge people for what you're called to do.
Right.
It's hard not to do it.
Right. It's kind of like Gary
V. If you
V-ish,
get to me.
You know?
Huh?
Gary V kind of.
Oh, yeah. Gary V's a beast. His work ethic is off the chain. I don't have that work ethic.
Well, yeah, he looks a little tired. He does. I love him so much, but
he has wife and kids.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see how he does it.
I don't either.
I'm a balanced guy.
Okay.
I could say no in a minute. Like, you can offer me $100,000 and I'd be like, I've been gone for 3 weeks. I'm going home.
Yeah.
And I've been offered stuff like that before. And I've done a tour in Australia and came home for 4 days just to go back.
Oh, that's a long flight.
No other speaker went home. Yeah, it takes 2 days to get home. 2 days to get back.
Oh.
So it's, I don't let money make me. I make it.
I like that though.
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes like Gary Vee makes you feel like you're a loser if you don't do what he's doing.
I'm like,
but you know what?
I don't want that life though.
Gary Vee is really a master at what he does, and he knows how to cater to people to peel back the layers. I'm more of the guy that says, when you're ready, I'll be there. Like Gary Vee will like get you ready. You know what I mean? I don't teach people how to be successful. I mean, I don't teach people how to want to be successful. I teach people how to be successful.
If they want to be.
Yeah. I mean, why would I mean, even God himself, like,
right.
Love me on your own will.
Right.
So be successful on your own will. Who am I to push you to a place you never said you wanted to go?
Right.
And you probably have a lot of success stories. Is it so when you see that, do you get emotional?
That's my biggest reward.
Yeah.
Like right now in my life, I have guys who used unemployment checks to get started with me who are millionaires today.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
And that has to make you feel so happy.
Male and females, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
To me, that's my greatest trophies on.
Yeah.
That at this, I'm 43, so I know I look 23.
You don't look 43.
Thank you.
And your
right
wife,
on cue.
Your wife
looks like a teenager.
Like,
excuse me.
And there's pictures.
My wife is only 11 months younger than me. Thank you.
I know, but
I've been pushing her under the bus for 20 years.
looks so young. I even one time Every time.
Sorry.
Her phone.
Sorry.
Every time Hannah or Psalms post a picture, I'm like, that is not your mom. She looks like a teenager. It's
And we're like, who is the mom here?
Yeah.
I mean,
who's the mama?
If you put up the picture where we're wearing all white, I'll make sure you get it. Put this picture up.
Uh-huh.
They're all wearing the exact same dress, the exact same size.
Uh-huh.
So here's the thing. I'm unpredictable.
Uh-huh.
Like my wife's in the kitchen, I'll walk up and slap her on the ass. You know, that's just what I do. Like I've been doing it for 20 years. It's just I don't know how not to be that guy, right? Now I gotta pay attention.
Yeah.
Cause
yeah. I
just
about
clicked.
that for a second. I was like, why?
No, like think about it. Like I've been very close to slapping my own daughters on the ass because they look alike from the back, and I'm like, this is not cool. That's a very weird feeling when like it's like, babe, you gotta change something. Get some boobs. I don't know. Do something. Just kidding.
Well, it's amazing. You guys look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Her confidence. You know what attracts me to my wife more than anything else is the confidence she had the day I met her and the confidence she has now.
Mm-hmm.
Like her confidence is on a level that it's not arrogant, but jokingly, like for real, I'll compliment her. She was like, babe, you look good in that. She was like, I know, right? And she's not being arrogant.
Yeah.
She's just celebrating the fact that she just looked in the mirror and she's like, yeah, I do.
But that's good. You have to have self-love.
Yeah.
That's
I've
good.
always liked that about her. Like when I just told my daughters this story, probably should tell Jolie too. When I met Crystal at the house where I played the piano, if you're just tuning in, you got to go back about 20 minutes to see what I'm talking about. But when I was, that day that I met her, I just learned her name. And I'm just being one of those guys from the hood, and I got a pocket full of money, and I'm trying to impress her, and she's just giving me really good energy. So I'm thinking like, okay, what you doing tonight? Like, that's what boys think, right? And you're always gonna test the water to see how far you can go. So she's walking in front of me. We're walking out of the house. We're leaving. She's in front of me, and I tap her on the ass. That's where it started. So I tap her on the ass, and she turns around, puts her finger on my face, and she goes, don't you ever disrespect me again. And I just remember looking at her, I'm like, I'm marrying you.
That's how she's always told us all the time. Like you don't.
And here's
I am huge on that one. Oh my gosh.
And from a man's perspective, ladies, if you're listening to me right now on this show, from a man's perspective, you standing up for your own personal beliefs. Now, if this is not your personal belief, it's okay for a guy to slap you on the ass. By all means, let him slap you on the ass. That's just who you are. That's your character. But when you stand up for your own personal beliefs, she wasn't acting. This is like a real deal. I saw it, and I said, I'm marrying her. Like I knew that at that moment that I wasn't gonna get lucky tonight. Probably not this year.
Yeah.
Probably not even next year. And I didn't. But I knew that was going to be my wife. And it trips me out. You got so many women who want to get married, so many women who want this and want that. But they will dance to any music that degrades who they are. And here's what you don't realize. We're watching.
Yeah.
If you're dancing to a song like I'm that bitch, we're watching. And I'm not saying don't have fun in your own comforts of your own home or when you're with your close friends, but when you're in a public place, we are watching. So there are certain things that go through a real man's head. Wife, partner. And we categorize that fast. And I'm not saying partner can't move over to being a wife, but our like the energy she was giving me, I'm like, damn, she's digging me. I'm going to hit that. And I was wrong. So we categorize even when we're wrong. So here's the thing. I think it's a woman's job to make us wrong about how they think about us. And I do think, women, flaunt it. I'm cool with that. But at some point, you got to stand up and create a separation. Like, hey, I may look like what you think it is, but I ain't what that is. Like, and that's how I felt. Like she was giving me all this energy. And I'm like, I could probably get away with anything with her right now. Let me test and see what's going on. I was wrong.
We tell girls that all the time, and people who don't listen, and then YouTube, they wonder why they sleep with them the first time. I'm like, don't stop doing that, and they pretend they listen, and they do it again and again,
and then they always come back and go.
I know people who slept together on the first night who are successfully married decades later.
So
it's very rare, very rare. But I think a man actually knows, like, okay, this is not her norm. I mean, I'm not justifying anything. But I'm saying, like, you know what? If you got skeletons in the closet, they're going to come out. So might as well bring them out now.
Right.
Like, just tell people, like, hey, I used to be that person. I'm not that no more. Because we're going to find out. So I don't know how we went into this relationship.
It's good, though.
I don't know either.
It's
but
the
is
Tito's.
there anything else you want to tell us or our listeners? And please talk about your book again that you're doing.
In 2019, I'm getting back into a zone that I haven't been into probably about 8 years. And it's really slowing down and developing people's personalities and developing and helping people with their brand. In 2018, in the last 6 months, since July, we've helped 49 people become published authors. At least 19 of them right now, if you go to Amazon and you Google the book is called The Breakthrough Series. And you'll see that there are people who 6 months ago didn't even know how to write a book. And now they're co-authoring a book with me, Les Brown, Nick Halleck, who's like the Richard Branson of Australia. And I'm helping people brand themselves. So if they're, everybody has a voice, everybody has a story. They just don't know how to get it out there. So I want to be like the American Idol for the personal development industry.
Cool. That's really cool.
I love it.
Well, think about it. Where would Fantasia be? Would you know Fantasia's name today without American Idol?
No, so
would
many.
you know Kelly Clarkson's name today without American Idol?
Yeah.
So ask yourself, why couldn't her voice put her in a place of fame alone? She didn't understand the business.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of people who have great voices who don't understand the business of public speaking or the business of becoming an author. You got so many people who have written books who've never sold one.
Right.
Because they think that, that's all it takes. Well, Fantasia had songs before she was on American Idol, but you never heard them.
No.
You never heard Kelly Clarkson's songs before American Idol. Does that mean that she wasn't incredible? Yeah, she was incredible. She didn't understand the platform of the business. So I'm the American Idol for public speakers, for people who want to brand themselves. I mean, I've got high school coaches who want to be collegiate coaches.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, you got to brand yourself in order to walk on that platform. Because collegiate coaches, some of them make more than NFL coaches, right? So I help people become a brand. And I don't care how many business cards you have. You could be a double degree attorney in any field. And I walk in with a book, I'm going to get on the show before they get on the show. Why? Because they'll say, this guy invested in who he said he is. This guy or girl invested in 14 years of school and did the traditional route. Who should be on the show more before I should. Documented wise, they put the work in, but I put the investment into my brand. So I am always the guy who will be on the panel. I'm always the guy who gets a speaking engagement. I'm always the guy on television. I'm always the guy on the radio show because I'm a published author. Becoming a published author basically says you've invested in who you say you are. You're not just being who you are. And that's how I help people go globally. And the crazy thing is, you can't fault Fantasia for not being famous before. You can't fault Kelly Clarkson. You can't fault them. They didn't know the industry. But American Idol says, hey, well, let's create a platform. Instead of us going looking for artists, they come to us. And we make a percentage of everything they make moving forward. People would do that all day, every day. I'm doing that for speakers and authors.
So how about we are your first mother-daughter team?
Hey, you actually would be. Go to costarauthor.com.
That has not happened yet.
No, here's the crazy thing. I know you guys and I know you well. You're family friends. We love you, right?
We love you guys.
But as much as we love you, you still have to go through the process.
Well, yeah, she was talking about that.
Yeah, go to costarauthor.com. My staff is there right now. They'll take your call and I'll tell them to elevate you to the top of the list for your interview, obviously, for favor. But everybody, even if my wife wanted to be a co-author, I'm like, babe, you got to go through the process. I teach people that because if I teach you, you have a blank sheet of paper?
I do.
Let me show you something somebody showed me a long time ago that changed everything. I'm going to rip it up so
it's fine.
I can destroy it.
Yep.
I just need one. So here's the deal. Here's what we do, especially when you're beautiful. Like, you guys are beautiful blondes, right? So, and you know, I'm a talker. So I can cut corners. I can get myself through situations where people, I know how to, you know, and women are probably even better because they can use their beauty. So here's what happens is you train people how to treat you. So if you're that person who wants to cut corners because of the way you look or the way you talk or who you're related to, so here's what happens. When you start cutting corners, you want to cut more corners. And then you're like, okay, I'm learning to cut corners. And if you cut enough corners, you're going to eventually see that at some point you're going to cut enough corners
And none left.
and there's nothing left. There's so many people out there in life, and particularly people like me who are talented, who have the gift of gab. And we're really good at cutting corners. We're really good at getting ourselves in atmospheres. We're really good at talking our way in. And you eventually, like, you cut so many corners in life, you end up with nothing. So I teach people, even people I love, you got to go through the process. Because if you skip the process, I'm teaching you that cutting corners is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not.
Mm-mm.
It's not. And you guys are dance instructors, so you have to know what I'm talking about. You can't cut corners because you become a habitual corner cutter. And what happens is you become offended when people tell you to wait in line because the rest of the world let you in line because of the way you look, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, how much money you have, the car that you pull up in. And you become one of those people who are masters of cutting corners. And it works. But you'll never have legacy success.
Wow. That makes so much sense.
And I'm guilty of it. I could talk my way into almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, I'm just cutting corners. There's something about going through the process.
Right.
The process
I
is
love
good.
it.
I feel like the
Process is
process
good.
is build
Mm-hmm.
your
Yeah,
character.
It's the character.
yeah. We always say stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We like the process.
Yeah.
we do.
We're not afraid of it. I don't
No.
think. No.
And there comes a point where you earn the right to cut corners, though.
Mm-hmm.
You earn the right. Like the Bible says, don't invite yourself to the head of the table. Let the person of the house invite you to the head of the
Mhm.
table. So when I'm invited to cut a corner, I'll cut it. But I've earned the right.
Right.
I've gone through the hell. I've gone through the fire to be invited.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm invited, I'll cut corners because it was based on an invitation. But I'm not going to walk up. I do my best. I can't say I don't. I do my best not to walk up with the expectation that you should know who I am. And it's hard at this point. You're like, you don't know who I am? J-Dub. Gotta put me on that red carpet. It's hard, but you gotta pay those dues to get
Right.
that process to where the corners are being cut for you. You're not cutting them. Hashtag.
Johnny, Crystal, we want to thank you so much for
You're
being
incredibly
part
welcome.
of our
Thank
100th
you.
show, and
You know what
we
time
need
it
to
is.
pop the champagne.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's 100.
It is.
Do we got some music?
Hold on.
We got some.
Celebrate good time.
At this though.
Oh, please, oh
And
Lord,
it's
please
not cold.
don't
so be
point it at
careful.
me.
Yeah. Watch your nose.
Yeah,
Don't point it at the light either.
This has not gone well.
Point it
a
right
few
there.
times.
Oh, God.
Listen. So one time I did this and it popped on its own. Right.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
it was hot.
Yeah.
Was it hot?
Yeah.
This is not cold either, so just be ready.
If it hits me, I'm crying on camera. I'm telling you right now. I'm like,
I wish I would have never come on the show.
hold on.
Hold on. Okay, are you ready? I'm not.
Well, don't hit the TV.
I'm gonna hold it.
Ah,
That was a go. That was good.
Hey,
Yay.
hey, you got this. Happy 100. Hey. Oh crap. Hey, here's my C-Dub. All right, hold on. See, I already broke the rule.
There you go.
I took a drink without cheers.
It's like, cheers.
Prost.
Thank you,
Prost. Prost.
Okay, look.
Salud. Hey, 100. Congratulations. I'm trying to think, what have I done 100 times? Can't talk about that. What have I done? Can't talk about that.
Well, you can talk about it. You could. It is your wife.
Hey. Congratulations. I'm
Thank
super
you.
excited for you guys.
Thank you.
I'm honored to be on your show. You guys could have had anyone for 100.
We chose you. And
And if you don't like it, always edit it and make it one-on-one.
With the big 100 balloon behind you.
Yeah, we can't. I can't do it.
can you give us your social media handles for everyone to follow you?
Everything is at Wimbrey. At Wimbrey. My last name, Wimbrey. At Wimbrey on Twitter. At Wimbrey on Facebook. At Wimbrey on Instagram. At Wimbrey on LinkedIn. My name is very unique. I own Wimbrey.com.
Perfect.
So nobody, you can't.
You'll
find
always
me.
find you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Go check out Johnny. Hire Johnny for speaking engagements. Buy his book.
Yes.
Aw,
From
thank
the
you.
Hood to Doing Good.
And y'all got to have my wife on and my girls.
Yes.
I can only imagine. Oh,
The
God.
girls with Jolie,
Yeah, we need-
like a teenage.
Oh, that would be.
We're gonna do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great studio, great production, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.